Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasant afternoon begins. What we had been learned previous class, brain and behavior. We need to think about what you mean by brain health, concept of brain health. Already we had been learned that every parts of brain doing different functions. Mainly left and right hemispheres doing different role. What do you think about brain health? Agila VM, Ahila VM.
Yes,
Ahila?
sir.
Yes. What do you mean by brain health?
It is the largest and complex organ in the human body.
Yes, which is their anatomical characters. My question is that is psychological perspective. What do you mean by brain health? Health. One word related to it. Akhila. Anybody? One word enough answer. Students, we are nursing professionals. Mainly student nurses think about study the factors and apply to health and nursing. Which is very important for us, our individual study life as well as our professional life can apply. Brain health is nothing but every components of brain doing functioning normally as well as well. How to improving the health status of brain? As we know that brain started to work only from the stimuli, internal as well as external stimuli. As well as each part of brain doing different role, right and left. So how to improving the brain health? We should be concerning pleasant stimuli, pleasant environment. For example, hearing good music and seeing good nature. Look at these pictures, flowers. So this type of pleasant and desirable stimuli help to improving the brain health. As well as we need to do something, then only our brain will be work. If nothing to do, what will happen? Brain nothing to do and maybe went to ill health, cause mental illness. So we need to do something increasing strength of our brain, as well as balancing two parts side of body, mainly right and left, should be balanced. Do that type of activities, physical activities as well as mental activities. We are students. I would like to give one suggestion for improving the writing skills. For example, we have two hands, right hand only using writing, left hand maximum of students leave alone. The simple technique is that keep one more pencil or other material in both hand, keep it yourself and start writing, which make to better speedy writing and fluent writing skill. The reason is that is help to work both side of the brain, which is brain factor, to improving your study skills and writing skills. Okay, do you have any clarification regarding it? So that is, everyone should be concerned about it. Then today we have to start with nerve tissue. Components of two parts of nerve system, mainly CNS and PNS, regulates and control bodily functions. So this is introduction regarding it. It composed of neurons and nerve cells. The tissue of the CNS consists of nerve cells. The cells neurons that generate, transmit electrochemical impulses. Then structure of neuron is composed of cell body, axon, dendrites. Cell body contains the nucleus. We can see neuron, parts of neuron. This is cell body having dendrites, and nucleus, axon. Nodes of Renever, myelin sheath, terminal ending. Look at this synapse. This is the end of dendrites, connect with other neuron. Structure of neuron. First, dendrites. Branch-like structure away from cell body. The job of dendrites is that receiving message from other neurons. Can you see that at the end of The picture available here. Look at this. Every cell body having many dendrites and receiving information from other cells, neurons. Message travel through cell body. So this is more clear picture. Can you see that clear picture? Already we had discussed about it. Axon. Scavenge cells is not in between scavenge cell node of renewal. So this is have been covered by myelin sheath. Detail going on. Cell body. Each neuron has a cell body which may be called a soma. Contain nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, and other cellular components. Next part, axon, tube-like structure. The job is that mainly carrying electric impulse from cell body to opposite end of neuron. Terminals which can will then pass into impulses into another neuron. Got this picture available. Then synapse, look at this is synapse, end of the every dendrites. Chemical junction between axon terminal of one neuron and the next neuron. Gap wire specialized chemical interaction. So this is, can you see that? This is synapse and this one neuron end is the other neuron end, which is not connected by anything, which is only connected by chemical impulses, which may be called as neurotransmitters. A detail going on. Myelin sheath, material that, so this is axon covered by myelin sheath. Fatty material that wraps around the axon. So this is the insulation, insulator to minimize dissipation of electrical signal travel down to axon. Act as a insulator, which means when connect with other neurons or the nearby, they do not minimize the this. Then glial cell is not actual part of the neuron. Okay. So this cell already we have seen in the picture is actually this is not a nerve cell which have been produced by glial cell, non neuronal cell that provide support for the neuron system. And types of neurons: sensory neurons, motor neurons, and interneurons. Motor neuron may be called as relay neuron. Motor means movement. This picture clearly shows that sensory neuron receiving sensory information from sensory organs. Then interneuron between sensory and motor neuron. Motor neuron mainly this job is that to movement, do muscle reflection, etc. Detail about sensory neuron: converting external stimuli from environment into corresponding internal stimuli. When mainly these neurons seen in these eyes, hearing, vision, touch, smell, sensation, receiving sensory impulses. Then motor neuron or relay neuron project their axon outside of the CNS to directly or indirectly control muscles. The interneuron middleman that from connection between other two. So this is clear picture for more visualizing and understanding. Sensory, motor, inter. Look at this sensory neurons, receptors, CNS, central nervous system, relay neuron, motor neuron. Some more classification available types of neuron here. Multipolar neuron, bipolar neuron, pseudo unipolar neuron, then unipolar neuron. According to shape of the neuron, this type of neuron have been classified. So this is a picture more visualizing each types of neurons, mainly motor neuron, multipolar mainly. Multipolar means receiving multi senses from sensory organs. Look at this. And to interneuron, message sent to the parts of brain, and brain analyze the information and action by the motor neuron. So this sensory, receiving sensory informations, interneuron, this to the brain, take decision according to this stimuli. Then the brain instruct to the motor neuron which type of action is. Okay, whether over light means maybe we can blink, or nearby fire, away from fire, like this example. Mainly motor neuron as well as interneuron having multipolar. Then functions of neurons. First functions transmit signals from electric impulse from brain to body. And second, pass signal very quickly from one to another. Third, specialized cell transmit chemical and electrical signal into brain. Neurons are building blocks of central nervous system. Functions of neuron. Fourth function, primary component of neuron or cell body, axon, conduct electrical impulses away from cell body. Dendrites, tree-like structure, receiving message from other synapses, specialized junction between the neurons. So this function explain about each parts of the neuron what do. This dendrites, end of the dendrites or synapse receiving the stimuli from other neuron to next neuron through chemical transmission. As we know that every electrical energy, for example, we have see through human eyes, which is that stimuli? That is a photo, light energy, and receiving that energy into electrical energy into chemical and transfer within the brain and interpret then actions. Fifth function, axon are covered with myelin sheath, fatty material that act as a insulator, speed up passing communication. Do you know that insulator? Insulator means can prevent electrical stimuli one neuron to another neuron. It means yes. Sixth one, sensory neuron. And their functions responsible for converting external stimuli from the environment to internal stimuli. Seventh one, motor neurons are neurons located in the CNS. They project the axon of CNS to directly or indirectly control muscles, which is function of motor neuron. Then function of interneuron, middleman between sensory and motor neuron. External and internal stimuli control muscle movement. How neurons fire? Neuron fire, that is transmitted electrical impulses along the axon. Neuron is the cell that detect the outside environment and the internal environment of their own body to formulate behavioral responses to those signals, to control their bodies based on response. If it is below the threshold, no action, as we know that, particular threshold only we can see through human eyes. For example, X-rays, gamma rays, we can't see. Action potential is an electric impulse that travel down to axon until it reach synapses, where release of neurotransmitters. All neurons have body and soma. Some contains the nucleus. Soma contains the nucleus, which means body contains the nucleus. All of their organelles that need to keep functioning, cell alive and functioning. Neuron also have directly to the one side of neuron or dendrites. You can think of this set be input side. dentistries and branches and branching structures which connect with output of other neurons spread over a wide areas. This allows the neuron to get impulses from number of different synapses. The other end is output. It contains the axon end. Number of synapses connect to the dendrites of other neurons or connected directly to muscle. The axon is usually it's quite long compared to the rest of the neurons, rest of the parts of the neuron. We have some neurons which along with extend the entire length of your body, which means some neuron, for example, male is spinal neurons having more length throughout the body. Then we can detail about steps how neuron fire. How? Yes, look at this. So this is a picture already I was explain about it. So this is one neuron, this is other neuron, this is connection between one neuron and other neuron by synapses. This information transfer by means of neurotransmitter, chemical transmission. Can you see that synapses? Two, this one and other neurons, and transfer the information. First, neuron is at resting potential. Second, mechanoreceptor. Mechano means movement. Receptor means that receiving that stimuli. On the dendrite, look at this. Stimulated by sound waves. Example, sound wave example here. We can say the light waves and any stimuli or touch. Third step, threshold is reached. For as we had discussed about, certain threshold need human want to see or hear. The membrane's polarity at the dendrite get reversed, action potential generated, which is fourth step of firing neuron. Clear about it? First. Then fifth step. Action potential jump down axon, which means that stimuli travel through axon, body through axon. Sixth one, neurotransmitters are released. Into this synapse. Seventh, chemical message is transmitted to post synaptic neuron. Now, can you see this picture for better understanding? This
Yes,
end
sir.
of. Yes. Any questions? Okay. Thank you. chemical message is, which is seventh step, synaptic neuron. Then resting potential is restored. So these steps cyclically are happening. For example, when receive information from the sensory organs and mainly nerve endings. Look at the synapse receiving information by one neuron to transfer to the another neuron through a synapses by using chemical messenger, which means electrical photo energy into electrical energy, then chemical energy. Look at this. For more understanding, action potential. Action potential means a stimuli reach the threshold. For example, when hearing or seeing, and action, then off, then cyclically happen. According to their stimulus, whether strong stimulus or weak stimulus, according to that, these neurons respond to transfer the information. Then neurochemistry. When you study the biochemistry, that time you will be more about it. Need to think about it, okay? When you study the biochemistry, need to think about it. Neuron chemistry. First step, action potential is that Na channel open, flood of sodium ions into cell. This cause membrane's potential to positive, which means Na plus. Sodium positive. Second, some positive membrane potential, the K plus channel open, allowing the potassium ions, K potassium, flow out of the cell. Third one, Na plus channels closed. This stop inflow of positive charge. But since the K plus channel are still open, allow the outflow of positive charge. So that membrane's potential flux. We can see that in this picture as well as chemistry. Na plus and K plus. Look at this plus S. Fourth, the membrane potential begins reaching its resting state. The K channel begins to close. Now the sodium potassium pump does not its work and starts transporting sodium out of the cell, the potassium into the cell so that it is ready for the next action. Next section, neurotransmitters, we will be learning next class. So today what we had been learned? Look at this. Today we have been learned detail about nerve tissue. Now, which means neuron, how functioning and how it's have been working. What are the job or functions of each parts of neurons? So clear about it. So our brain made up of billions of neurons. So every neurons, this is a just like microscopic explanation. Every neurons have been doing these functions. So in the examination, this is very important question. When this question asked, should be right, include this all the content, should be right, draw the diagram first. Only one diagram is enough for examinations. Look at this. First draw the diagram and label each parts and explain about each parts. First write about dentistries, then explain about nucleus, this body, cell body, then what is meant by axon, then what are the role of myelin sheath, then Schumann's cells, etc. So which is anatomical structure, the parts of the neurons. Then next we need to think about types of neurons. In our human body there are 3 types of neurons: sensory and motor neurons. Sensory, motor and interneurons. Sensory neurons receiving the stimuli from the environment as well as internal as well as external environment. Mainly, for example, we can think about hearing or seeing, tasting, smelling, senses. Received by the nerve endings, neuron having end of synapse. Example for photo energy into electrical energy, then chemical energy and actions, mind take decision. Interpret by brain, then instruct to the motor neuron, take action. So 3 type of neurons. If question asked in the type of neurons, should be draw this diagram. Can you see that this diagram?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. So now, yes, nice. Draw this diagram, then explain about each. Here some type, these 3 types have been classified into other types according to the shape of the neuron. Mainly monopolar, bipolar, pseudo unipolar, then yes, etc. Then functions of neurons here listed. How many functions listed here? There are 8 functions. General functions as well as each parts of neurons. What are their roles have been listed here. Just concern it. Then how neuron fire? Fire means how neurons receive the informations from the stimuli. In a normal condition, always these neurons are not working. If receiving that stimuli and act to send that information to next neuron, that means firing. Here steps are available which make more understanding, and enjoy to know about it. Eight steps to how neurons receive the information and receiving and transfer the information to one neuron to another neuron. Then chemistry. Mainly two important chemicals here. Can you name two important chemicals? Na and K. Na means sodium. K means potassium. The two important chemicals involved too. Transmission of informations, neurochemistry. Okay. So next, neurotransmitters, we will learn next class. So in the neurotransmitters, as well as more about the chemicals. What are the chemicals involved to transfer the information or transfer the stimuli one neuron to another neuron will be next. Then questioning time, some more discussion we have to. Angel baby. Angel baby.
Yes, sir.
What are the types of neurons? Can you name types of neurons?
Yes, sir. Sensory neurons, motor neurons, interneurons.
Excellent. Thank you, Angel baby. Gobika.
Sir.
Yes, can you list a few functions of neurons? Functions
Yes,
of
sir.
yes.
They pass the signals very quickly from one neuron to the other.
Yes.
Then neurons are specialized cells that will transmit the chemicals and electrical signals in the brain.
Excellent answer.
And they allow them to transmit the signals in the form of electrical impulses.
Excellent answer. Thank you. I'm glad to appreciate your answer. Okay, students, thank you everyone. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.